She was born Anadori Caladra Taliana Isil, Crown Princess of Kildenree, and she did not open her eyes for 3 days. The pacing queen directed ministers and physicians to the crib. They listened to her breathing and her hummingbird heart, felt her fierce grip and her tiny fingers soft as salamander skin. All was sound, but her eyes did not open. All was still for the night. The queen dozed on the bed. The baby in her crib dreamed of milk, her round, perfect lips, nursing in her sleep. A woman in a fern green robe pulled aside the curtains and tiptoed across the carpets. She slid her calloused hands under the infant's back and head, held her up, and grew. The queen awoke to the sounds of the rocking chair creaking and a voice singing about magpies and pigeons. She stood up, ready to call the guards, then saw that it was her own sister who sang to the baby, and that the baby was looking back at her aunt with wide eyes. It was the aunt who shortened the crown princess's name to Ani. So the aunt stays for quite a while, and not only can the aunt understand the language of birds, but Ani is a good mimic, and she decides she's going to see if she can teach Ani to speak to the birds. Eventually, when she's about 5 or 6, her aunt has some bad news for her.
No.
I'm going home. Don't forget all you have learned. If your mother discovers what I have taught you, she will take it away. Sometimes in secret, Ani lay on her belly and tried to mimic her puppy, Lindy's whines and growls. Listen to me. Can you understand me, Lindy? The nurse Mary must have overheard. But when Ani returned from her tutor's apartment one afternoon, the puppy was gone, and her mother stood in the center of the nursery waiting. You give him back! The queen slapped Annie's mouth. That tone is unacceptable. This fantasy has gone unchecked for too long. If I had known that woman was teaching you those mad ideas, when I would have sent her running from the city without her pack. You will be the next queen, and your people will not trust a queen who makes up stories and seems to talk to wild beasts.
So, if the aunt was able to teach Ani animal speaking, shouldn't the queen have been able to teach Ani people speaking?
Nope.
No.
One talent is not the same as the other.
Also, Ani
I can
was a
ask
baby
him
when she was taught bird speaking and animal speaking. So
All
with
talents are the
this,
same.
with that, it was more ingrained into her subconscious mind. So
Well,
she
it's
would
also
remember
for
it.
her talent.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the gift. She has this gift. She doesn't have that gift.
So obviously she probably doesn't understand because she has the same gift as her aunt, and so that's why she went out with the songs, obviously. But her mom wants her to be a people speaker, so she wants her to be around humans more than so nature or like any animal in particular. So she might have to change her gift to a people speaker like her, so she can be a good queen.
But do you think she can do that?
No, exactly, because the queen is having false hope.
I came to tell you. We received word today that your aunt passed away this winter. I am sorry if this hurts you. I watched her mother's back walk away and felt her 7-year-old world tumble like a hatchling from a tree.
She's not evil.
She is evil.
She is a bad person!
Guys,
She's
evil is a very subjective word, and
It is
there are endless
complex.
debates about that.
She doesn't know how to deal with
She's
this child, and this child is the future of her kingdom.
Maybe she's a bad mother.
Yeah.
Annie slipped out the nursery porch to run away. She reached the pond and looked back to where the pink marble ballroom gazed brilliantly out at the night. One swan roused at Annie's sob and greeted her, then nested in the sand near her feet. I am tired, Annie told the swan, and lost from my herd. The swan words she spoke sounded to her human ears like a mournful wail of a child. Sleep here, was the bird's simple reply. She was out all night in just a nightgown. She now gets really sick. The queen squinted, briefly creating spider-leg thin lines around her eyes. She laid a cool hand on Annie's forehead. The gesture was almost motherly. Keep her resting and away from birds.
You know, you can understand from a point of view that she's like angry with her sister because, like, yes, she got Annie to like wake up, but then also she's like started this whole like thing where you can talk to birds, and that's not good for like the image at all of like Crown Princess at all.
But couldn't there have been better ways?
I'm not saying it's a good thing as a mother to do, but as a queen, it's understandable.
Long after the fever, her name was often replaced with that delicate child. She was kept indoors. She was never alone. She breakfasted in bed and supped on a couch and never laced her own boot.
Would this make a good queen or not?
Maybe a lazy queen.
Maybe lazy or maybe insecure, maybe afraid to try things. She tries to do something on her own, they're like, no, don't. Of course that's gonna break you and make you useless.
She's not allowed to lace her own boots, so
Yeah.
you don't let someone learn, they're not gonna learn.
This is her when she's now 16 or 17. She goes riding with her dad, and her dad dies. The queen is giving the speech, and she says,
Do not fear that this day is sad.
this
Sad day means more than just the end of this king's life. We will go on. We will continue. I will continue as your queen and the keeper of this realm. And the distant day when you carry my body to this place, my noble and capable son, Caleb Lonocris, will be ready to take up the scepter and.
I knew it too.
she replaces Annie and says, and she doesn't even tell Annie before, she just springs this on her.
There's a reason why the mom did not do this in front of the king, because the king, I feel like the king liked his daughter more than the mom did. Thank you for dying, so that now I can make sure this country stays safe by putting someone who's my son, who doesn't stutter, who can't talk to birds, as the future king.
Yeah. Mother, I ask pardon for intruding so soon after the mourning period, but I must ask you about your statement some weeks ago. Yes, child, about Caleb Longcris. It was fortunate truly that Adokar wished for peace as much as I. In private council, we arranged your marriage to the king's first son after your 16th birthday. But I am the crown princess. I am supposed to be the next queen. The law says that I am the next queen. You can't just take away who I am. Whether or not you think I am good enough to be queen of Kildenree, that is what you have raised me to be. What I have worked at all my life. I am sorry, Anadori, said the queen. It was the first time she had heard her mother speak those words. Annie saw herself clearly in that moment. She did as she was told. She rarely gave thought to her duties or spent deep hours or acted alone. She realized that she would never have been capable of taking her mother's place. I will go. But you already knew that, didn't you?
It doesn't really matter, but did the king break his crown?
I don't feel lame!